Good morning, everyone, and welcome you all for yet another episode in Cleantech Talks, where we talk about the cleantech trends in India and globally. Today, we have with us Bhargavi, a general partner in Java Capital, a fund which invests in climate and deep tech startups. Without getting a further ado, let's get started. And first of all, welcome Bhargavi. We're very happy to have you with us.
Hi, thank you, Shubham. It's great to be part of the program, and thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. Thank you very much for being with us for the session, and really looking forward to get some insights from you to help these startups, getting their investment pitch deck ready. So, Bhargavi, just to start with, just wanted to know a little bit about yourself and about Java Capital. What was the journey so far, and would love to understand how it started, with a perspective of you getting into climate tech startups and how it went, the overall journey we would like to understand. Yeah.
Definitely, yes. So, first of all, to start with, I am a ISB alum from PGP class of 2011. And I started Java Capital 3.5 years back, along with two other partners of mine, Vinod and Karthik. And Java Capital currently invests predominantly in deep tech and clean tech startups. We are a India-based fund based out of headquartered in Bangalore. I'm based out of California, and I look at investments from here. And so we are a pre-seed stage fund. We would like to be the very first institutional investors in companies that we invest in. Our check size is between 150,000 US dollars to 350,000 US dollars. And we are really excited to work with some of the smart brains in the country. And we have already partnered with some very promising deep tech and clean tech startups in the country.
Great to hear about you, Bhargavi, and how you guys started and how you guys are supporting the clean tech startups in India. Just to I'm trying to understand, how you see the world of clean tech investments and how the landscape for clean tech startups seeking funding changed in the recent years, and what trends you are currently observing.
Yeah, so clean tech has become a focus sector for many VC funds off late in the last 1 year, which is a very welcome trend. And not only late stage venture capital funds, which invest in companies at Series B plus, are looking at this sector, but many pre-seed seed stage funds are also looking at this sector like us, which is very positive trend which is happening, and not just from investing landscape point of view from a private investment, but also from government point of view and from regulations point of view. There is a lot of improvements, and there is a lot of opportunities which has opened up for founders working on ideas in this sector.
Great. So, that's so fascinating to see the shift towards more sustainable investments. I've read about this increasing importance of circular economies, and it's promising to see, this gaining traction. And what do you think, we when we talk about, clean tech startups, so this trend is coming globally. You are operating from California, and this sustainability whole concept, integrating with your startup, with your solution, is coming up very well. What do you think, like what are the the catalyst of these this the shift we are witnessing? What can be the reasons of this shift, and how the world is taking it?
I think globally there is a clear call for action, and people understand the urgency for action in many areas in clean tech. Now we have COP is happening in Dubai as we speak now, where many leaders from across the world are participating and discussing about solutions in different avenues and sectors. So there is revival of momentum for clean tech globally, and I think that is what is percolating to India as well.
Absolutely. This is what, throughout the clean tech program that we are doing currently, we have seen, the amount of acceptance that we have received from the investment fraternity and the ecosystem partners. People are more, curious or maybe more supportive, I can say, towards helping sustainable startups, and more welcoming, if I say, with a government's perspective or a corporate perspective. So that's, I totally agree with that. Now coming to the, globalist investment trend, and I would love to know more about like how Java Capital sees in it, like what specific criteria does Java Capital look when considering investment in clean tech startups. So I just wanted to know more about it.
Sure. So let me start with founders. So I can divide the factors broadly into two. One is founders and second is market. So when it comes to first founders, what we look at is founders to market fit. So the solutions which the founders are building on, why are they the right people to build that solution? What unique insight do they have in this sector, which in which they are building a solution on? What experience do they bring on board? How is the team complementary to each other? So I think these are some of the factors which we look at for founders, and it's not just in clean tech, but it applies to deep tech as well. And in terms of the market factors are mainly what is the future potential for the market, and specifically with respect to clean tech and deep tech, some of the solutions, what are the commercial viability of the solutions that they are building? I think that becomes very important. And the In deep tech and clean tech, another important factor is how is regulatory scenarios and externalities which are not in our control going to play out. I think understanding that is also very important, which we try to assess as much as possible when we evaluate a solution. So I think these are some factors. So one is in terms of founders, second is in terms of market, and a third factor is regulations and external factors which are not in our control.
Absolutely. It makes, absolute sense to, focus mostly on the team and the market and the regulations. Talking about the regulations, I would like to share, our experience with the regulations thing in India. So we want to do, a program. We wanted to do a program in fintech, and again, this Bitcoin. We also wanted to support, startups who are developing solutions in Bitcoin and all. So the regulations was something which actually created a lot of problem for us, because let's say if we want to support a startup and then the regulation changes in India, it becomes very difficult to sustain for that startup and for us also to support the startup. So again, I completely agree with you. The regulations are also very important. And talking about the team strength, yeah, we believe, on a personal note, I can say, I whenever I do a interview of a startup, I mostly look for the founder, because I always believe, I look for the founder and I say, yeah, thoda moda hai na, if he can fight or not. Because if he doesn't have that that sense of the fighting spirit in that team, they will never survive, because it's a very tricky path, challenging. Again, you have to be very that strength and the spirit has to be there, only then only you will survive. So again, I totally agree with you that these are the the aspects which needs to be considered when we think of supporting, or in your case, investing in startups. So now I would like to um, highlight this thing, that the clean tech startups often face unique challenges. So like to understand what are some common challenges you have seen in founders, you have seen founders encounter when raising capital, and how they navigate, like how can they navigate these hurdles? Because I want to know this thing with your perspective, because you have seen founders getting or doing some mistakes while raising funds. So I just wanted to understand with your point of view, like what are the common mistakes they do and how they can avoid those mistakes.
Sure. So instead of looking at it as mistakes, so you first asked challenges. I think that is the right way to put it. Many of the clean tech startups require long gestation period, and they may need initial capital investment even at R&D stage, or in building a product validation or proof of concept. Right, and sometimes it becomes a chicken and egg problem, where if you go to an investor, they are going to ask, do you have a proof of concept, versus whereas you need money to build the proof of concept. So I think that is very common with startups in this sector. And what I would suggest is, today there are accelerators like yours, and there are other accelerators, or there are government grants which are available. So it is very important where if you can demonstrate tech feasibility using any of these avenues. The founders, I'm sure many founders are already exploring that, but that is one avenue which they can explore. But the second aspect is, if you when you don't have probably a product or a prototype, the other, next best thing that you can do is demonstrate there is a need for it in the market. So and then you can prove tech feasibility of it through reports, through papers. So that is something which is possible even without having a physical product. But when you can show that there is a customer need, there is a market need for the product. And to do that, you don't need a product, you just need to get on the ground, uh, talk to your ideal customer profiles, that we call people who are going to be your early adopters, first believers who are going to buy. So can you talk to as many of those people as possible, and then demonstrate that, hey, I know what my customers need, and this is the gap in the market, and this is what I'm going to build, and that's why we are going to succeed. And I think that is something which can be demonstrated, which should be demonstrated. And that's going to ease out some of these chicken and egg issues. And once you show there is a market need, most of the investors who invest in clean tech, at least if you take us, right, we know it's not always possible for someone to spend their resources and have a working product or a prototype. So many times we invest at idea stage, and for a product like this.
Absolutely. It was very interesting to know about the second option, because I always advocate the first one. Because, when I was starting my start, I was like around 16 years old. I was in my college. And the only, the reason for, which helped me to get some investment, the series round, it was only that I have received some funds from my college to build my. That was the a sort of a property I can show to the investors, to the evaluators, that I have done something. There's a need, I have done something, this is a working prototype. Yeah, I need money and I know what I can do. But the second aspect you talked about, if you don't have a prototype, still you can figure out if there is a need, and you can prove it in front of the investor that there's a valid need in market. And again, talking to the customers, doing the market service, and also I think this is one of the approaches I'm going to integrate in my talks. If I when somebody comes to me and says, we don't have a prototype and we don't have access to grants, what should we do? So this is another way to look at things. And I think investors like you who understand this thing, like if somebody is having valid reasons or proper market survey research and all about that solution and the industry, yeah, we can invest in the idea as well. So again, I completely agree with that. So also, building on that, I just wanted to know what elements make a clean tech startups pitch stand out and attract VC's attention? That's the most anticipated question.
I think I go back to the evaluation in this, right? So many times, especially when someone is raising at a pre-seed seed, the weightage on the founders is very high. So it's very important that the founders demonstrate their capability and their fit for the space and the solution they are building using their profiles. So founder profile is very important, and how they are able to demo, explain their journey and story is becomes also important, because we should know whom we are investing and why you are the right person building this product. And the second thing is all then it comes to the white space, or what is the need which you are addressing, and demonstrating that is very important. So it is team, then problem, then solution, and then papers or supporting materials on tech feasibility, because many times these startups are also deep tech in nature, and they are building something ground up, and it's very important to demonstrate the tech feasibility also. So these are some of the factors I will see. One thing that I always tell to founders is, you should also prepare how you're going to time your pitch, or how you're going to manage the time for your pitch. So let's say you have an hour to pitch with a VC. Always ensure that you keep a good 20 minutes for question and answer. So your pitch need not sound rehearsed, but it always helps to know how much time you should spend on a slide. And coming to market, if you're working on markets which are quite well known, let's say for example electric vehicles or solar power, if a VC is investing in that space, we are pretty well aware of the market and the market size. So you don't have to spend your precious time on explaining about the market unless the investor asks for it. Or you can ask, do you want would the investor like you to go in depth into the market and explain it in greater detail? Otherwise, I generally say this is probably like a tip: don't spend a lot of time on explaining the market, because mostly if an investor is looking at a space, most likely they know the market, they know the market size. So use the time to focus more on your product and competition.
Absolutely. This is something I've seen in many pitches that people, largely focus on the market. They always come up with big numbers, like we have a market of 10, $2 billion, $3 billion. This is the market, in India and abroad. And very true that if if an investor is trying to invest in a particular space, they must be having that idea beforehand. And also, talking about the data driven approach. Okay, in the presentation you said, the more you research about the industry, the current trends and the necessity of that. I'm just trying to relate this thing. So this is very important. The data is very important. The research that you should do before your presentation, the timing you talked about, that has to be there. But with that fund utilization perspective, what do you think? How important is the fund utilization plan in the presentation? Or if you can share any very impactful example that you have seen, which actually, grasp your attention or your interest to invest in that startup.
Okay, so at a very very early stage, like pre-seed stage, mostly the fund utilization is going to go in for product building and team building. So it's mostly the scenario. And in general, if it is between these two, it's not something which happens in the first pitch, right? So it is something where we dive into when we see that this company is interesting, and we want to understand more about where they are going to spend and all that. And then that's when it goes into, you start peeling the layers of it, right? Let's say you say, hey, I want x amount of capital to build a team. It is very important to also have a backup plan, saying what are the positions which you're going to hire and in what order. So instead of saying I want to build a team, it is very important you have the backup working for it also done. And second thing is, let's say if it's for a product, if it is a clean tech company where you are going to set aside some portion of the capital to build your prototypes, it is very important to say that this is the money I'm setting aside for building two prototypes, three prototypes. And sometimes it's not going to be enough. So it's very important to show that you have factored in the risk factors, where let's say a couple of prototypes don't come out as planned. Do you have cushion to build additional prototypes or products, right? So I think these are some of the factors which is more bottom up, and where a lot of homework is required before you even decide how much to raise.
Yeah, it seems like having a clear roadmap for funds is not just about securing investment, but also ensuring that it leads to a meaningful progress. So yeah, so now let's talk about building relationship with the investors. I always believe that when you secure an investment from a VC firm, so building a relationship with investor becomes very crucial. And just wanted to know, like, what advice do you have for founders in cultivating strong relationships with VCs throughout the fundraising process, to getting ahead with the fund utilization and the progress?
Okay. So I will focus more on pre-fundraise. Um, so people generally say that it's always good to get a warm connect, and not all of them can get a warm connect. At least at Java Capital, we recognize that. So we go through 100% of the emails that we get, even cold emails, right? And then we ensure we respond. But of course, not everybody can do that. Not all VCs can do that. So, one tip for founders to get warm connects is, you can reach out to portfolio founders of the VC of interest to you, and many portfolio founders will be happy to make the introduction to their investor. So that is probably one very good way to get a warm connect, leveraging the ecosystem. Now coming to other ways of maintaining relationships. So fundraising process sometimes take more than what we expect. Sometimes some founders might close it in a week, some founders might take 6 months. So in the process, it's very important to build some discipline in sending periodic updates to investors with whom you have engaged. It's very hard to follow, very easy to say, but if that discipline can be built, it's nothing like it, because there are many times where we have got an update, quarterly update from some of the companies which we might have decided not to invest. And then looking at the quarterly update, we would have thought, "Oh, okay, well, nice, they have progressed so much. Why don't I set up a call with them and understand more on where they are today and reevaluate the company?" So that way, building the discipline of sending monthly update when you're actively fundraising to your potential investors is a nice habit to follow.
Absolutely. Building that trust and the shared values actually contribute to a more fruitful and enduring partnership. So, um, so we talked about, how this investment, process goes when the startups come, they pay, they get secure, they secure funds, and how the, try to maintain the relation with VCs, investors. Now, let's talk about these, specific trends within the clean tech market that you find particularly promising or exciting right now? Just wanted to know, because you are, not only in India, you are witnessing trends globally. So just wanted to know what are the specific trends you find exciting.
Yeah, it is interesting to see a lot of trends. One is alternate energy is always a popular trend. It's not just solar, but in terms of water powered energy and other means, even using solar in harnessing solar through different ways. So that's a trend which we are seeing. Second is today there is increased requirement for reporting, where there is good governance, reporting based on good governance. So there is interest in tools which help you to track your, not only just report but also track your carbon credits, carbon usage, and other measurements which are required on an end-to-end basis. Some tools go even till the vendors and their vendors. So it's the entire life cycle which they help you capture and report. That is another trend. The third is bioplastics, which we are seeing. Everyone across the world is looking at reducing and recycling plastic. So bioplastics is another. Several innovations in bioplastic, in terms of the bonding, the materials used to make them. So many are coming, and one another thing is waste management, but waste management in different natural scenarios, be it land waste, ocean waste. So how do you do efficient waste management and protect mother nature? So that is another avenue which where a lot of innovations are coming in.
Absolutely. Those areas indeed sounds very promising, especially that energy storage has the potential to revolutionize how we harness and use energy, renewable energy. You also talked about, waste management and, bioplastics and all. Just, wanted to tell you about one of our startups, then I'll try to align with this sustainability aspect of it. So one of our startups is currently part of the Cleantech program. So the startup is called Recircle, and what they are doing actually, they are actually tracing out the plastic waste produced by the FMCG industry. So let's say Coca-Cola is producing this amount of plastic waste, and they have this EPR compliance which they need to fulfill, a regulation from government that they need to recycle the amount of plastic they produce. And what this company is doing, they are actually tracing back the plastic waste generated by the company and using a blockchain based platform, and they are selling back the same amount of plastic, to the company again, so they can recycle it and they can reuse it for their operations. So this is something I found very interesting, because it has a social impact vertical as well, and the sustainability one. So here I want to align my next question, because I wanted to talk about sustainability, so that's why I wanted to give this example. So sustainability is often a key focus in clean tech, okay? And
Mm.
how does Java Capital access the sustainability practices of the startups it considers for investment? Just wanted to know about that.
Uh, so I think in terms of evaluating, you're asking.
Yeah, like how you consider the sustainability aspect of these companies which comes to present and apply for investments. Like how do you think, what is the importance of that aspect?
Of course. So I think in specifically in clean tech startups, it's we look at how much have they thought through in terms of when let's say, for example, when you say bioplastics, right? If somebody is coming and presenting a bioplastic solution, one thing that I always like to understand is, have they thought through the entire life cycle of um, discarding the bioplastic, and it should not become a composite material which becomes harder to recycle, and then it ends up on landfill, and it in turn takes a long period of time to decompose. So it is very important to see how the solution is being thought through, and that is a factor which and it goes integrated into the whole clean tech economy, and the entire area, right? So you don't break something to build something. So and it's very important to assess that. So that is one key thing that we look at.
Yeah, so that holistic approach to sustainability is commendable. I think it ensures a comprehensive commitment to environmentally friendly practices. So again, that is something I believe every clean tech or climate tech fund need to focus on, and because it is not only about investing and getting a company profitable or making money out of it, because the funds focusing on specific sectors needs to focus on the cause as well, and I'm very happy to see how Java Capital is taking up now just so I want to know, like, what advice do you have for clean tech founders who are currently in the process of planning to raise capital from venture capitalists?
Um, so, in terms of there is nothing separate for clean tech startups per se, right? It is in general, it's going to apply for all startups. That way, I think we don't look at anything special only for clean tech startups. And um, I think whatever I covered till now in terms of looking at the market, telling how you fit into the market and how you are uniquely positioned for the solution, and how much have you done your homework on understanding the white space in the market, the commercial viability of the solution, regulatory challenges, and external factors. I think these are the package which is to be portrayed, and which should also be addressed in your pitch deck.
Bhargavi, you got it right. It was a summary question where we wanted to know, what are the things, on a pinpoint manner, which can actually help the starters, have everything in a single answer. So that's it. Thank you very much for that. So, now finally looking ahead, what do you foresee as the future of VC investments in the clean tech space?
I think it is going to continue and grow in the foreseeable future globally, and that's something I'm seeing even here in North America as well, not just in India. And I think Indian founders are uniquely positioned to build in India for the world, and clean tech is an area where if you build a solution for, let's say, waste management, the application of that is not just restricted to a particular geography. So you are free to sell it outside India in other markets as well. So that way it is a very interesting space to be in, and at the right time to be in. And there is a lot of external support which is coming in this space. So yeah, very excited to be investing in founders at this time in clean tech.
Yeah, it's very inspiring to hear optimism for future of clean tech, especially the potential India holds. And yeah, the potential for collaboration and innovation seems really boundless. So, thank you very much, Bhargavi, for sharing your insights and expertise. It's been a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you, Shubham, for arranging the chat. Thank you. Bye.
Your passion for the space is truly contagious, and I look, forward to witnessing the continued success in innovation in the clean tech sector. Also, the support you are showing to the program, and looking forward to get you introduced to some really impactful startups you can get and secure some funding from Java Capital.
Definitely looking forward to work with ISB's AIC and invest in some of your startups soon.
Thank you very much, Bhargavi, for joining us today. It was really a nice talk, and really looking forward to have you in future as well, where we can get more insights, more knowledge from you, from your experience, which can actually help the startups in this space. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shubham. Bye.